But I knew at that point, with 9% of the supply, that I felt a self responsibility to use it the right way.
Joe, it's been a little while since I've had you on here, but we've been interacting an awful lot off camera. We've been having a blast with Karate Combat and a bunch of other stuff that's going on. So welcome.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's been fun to get out to those events, and they're getting bigger and bigger and more exciting. And it's nice to interact with some people from other chains and get people in on Hedera, especially those influencers that are in on Karate Combat. I see that they're buying HBAR now, and now we need to get them on these Hedera tokens.
Yeah, no question about that. So you have a great Dino story, and that's why I wanted to bring you on here today. But I also like a good origin story. So to start, can you just tell us how you got into Hedera in the first place and some of the things that you're currently involved with?
So, 2021, started seeing the NFT hype, and I guess that's when the NFT sold for whatever $100 million that people made or whatever it was. So I said, well, let's see what this is about. And February, coming up on 4 years, beginning of February 2021, I bought my first NFT. I think I paid $300 for it on Nifty Gateway. I was excited. Those things were selling out instantly. I missed the first mint. It was the American Psycho cartoon where he's holding the old school telephone. And I tried to mint it and missed it. So I went to secondary. I think I paid $320 for it. I was excited. It was my first NFT. I was going to keep it forever. Well, the next day I woke up and they were selling for $1,200. And then the day after that for like $2,000. So I quickly let it go, let it go. And I saw that there was a $400 gas fee with it. And I had no clue what that was about. I thought it was a commission for the artist. So I was like, okay, the artist gets some money. That's great. Little did I know that it wasn't a commission for the artist. But I had this money sitting in a wallet. So I went to a friend of mine who was early in Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some others. And I said, give me a list of what I should buy to hold and what I should buy to speculate on, something that can do really well. And HBAR was one of the projects that he gave me. So I started doing my research and fell in love with the fact that it was backed by major corporations. I know some people aren't down with that, especially outside of Hedera, but I come from a banking industry background, and I thought that that was exactly where I wanted to be. So at the end of February 2021, I went to Binance US and started getting my first HBAR. Started getting entrenched into the Hedera community. NFTs started launching. People were trading them wallet to wallet and person to person. It was before there was an exchange available, and I was a little leery of that. But as soon as, I guess I'll say it, Zeus Marketplace launched, I jumped in full speed ahead. And anything that I could mint, I was minting and hyping and buying. I hadn't been involved with any projects, but Creamies came along and started a council of their holders, kind of an advisor's role. And I jumped onto that, was elected to that position by the community, and just really started to learn about NFTs and more about Hedera and the community. Outside of Hedera, I had some metaverse engagement and had a pretty good chunk of Decentraland tokens, and got some friends of mine into Decentraland, and then they launched their metaverse. And I was utterly, completely disappointed. I know they've worked hard and it's getting better and better, but I really was expecting something a little cleaner with a little more engagement while you were in there. So I went looking for something else. And it wasn't a week later, Earthlings popped up. And I said, this white paper, they didn't have anything out. This white paper is what I've dreamt about for a gaming metaverse. And when they minted the founder's card, I was just a community member. I think I jumped in and got 5 of those as quickly as I could and went head over heels, full steam ahead into, no pun intended, full steam ahead into their Discord and just became an active community member. and Patrick reached out to me and said, "Hey, you seem really engaged. The community likes you. Would you like to have a call?" And he was the first person that ever offered a face-to-face, one-on-one call that was a creator of any of the projects, NFTs or anything else that I'd been involved in. And one thing led to another. 4 months later, I was on the team, and here we are. So Earthlings is, I'm not a founder, but it's my baby, and I love it, and I love to see the things that we're doing. I am not an artist. I am not a dev. So when people ask me about those things, I have to send them back to the team. All I know is tokenomics and finance. So that's where I sit on that team.
I think you picked the right team with Earthlings. I think they're going to do amazing things. They're making strides on a regular basis. I jump on those calls every once in a while as an advisor, and it's like talking with a family. You guys have the right culture. You have the right way to engage with your community, and of course, you're coming out with some amazing products. So now I want to jump into why we're here today. We're going to start to get into DinoCoin. Before we get into your story around DinoCoin, which I think is really fascinating, and I was so happy to see it. But what attracted you to this meme coin and DinoCoin?
So I'll back up a little bit. I think that the wallet that I minted Dino with is pretty well doxed. If you go look at my timeline, you can see the wallet number probably 100 times in the last 3 years, whether it be entering contests or anything else. So there was nothing to hide there with that. There are several thousand NFTs, some still active, and some have long been gone. But I've done that with a lot of projects. If I see something come along and there's good engagement, I'll mint their NFTs, sometimes just to support, and sometimes it's to just be a pure degen and get in as early as I can. So when people started calling HBAR and XRP and the other tokens Dino tokens, I can't remember the guy's name that made the first post.
Brad Nooner.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was embraced and used as a positive instead of a negative. I've always felt that way about HBAR. I have friends in Web 2 that their businesses are looking into Web 3. And for a couple of years, they said, well, we're looking at developing with Ethereum based because that's where all the people are. And, you try to teach them about gas fees and scalability and transaction volume. And some of them get it and some of them just don't get it. So when Hedera and HBAR started making this surge along with some of the other tokens and they got called Dino, I loved it. And then Roy's ugly mug popped up on X and I just fell in love with it. You can go back on my timeline and see that I was completely against meme tokens. Even when Ralph launched, as much as I love him, I just didn't get it. I didn't understand it. And over the last year, I've really started to see the importance of it and started to embrace it. And then Meme Job came out and I started playing around with it and did fairly well. But I did it because I knew that Dino was going to be launching and I wanted to know what I was doing. I'm not a dev, so I don't know how to create bots. All I know how to do is click mint or buy and hope for the best. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I've missed out on as many as I've gotten as far as being fast enough, especially when the NFT craze was going and everything would mint out in 30 seconds. And sometimes you get in, sometimes you don't. So what happened was we were traveling to Florida for the Karate Combat event and they announced the time for the launch. So I had to plan to get from Miami to my hotel in Fort Lauderdale in proper timing to be somewhere with a good internet connection. So I got to my hotel in Fort Lauderdale about an hour before the launch of Dino, and I got set up. I had two screens running, one to refresh and one to make sure that my wallet was connected so I could stay signed in on Hashpack and Meme Job. So I did that. The next thing I did, I stayed at a Hilton property. I don't know if I told you this. I've never, ever, ever paid for business internet because if you're a Hilton Rewards member, you get free internet. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a $4.95 a day option for business speed internet. I'm like, well, you know what? It's $5. Let's go for it. So my assumption was that the Dino launch would be a one chance click to try to get some before the bonding curve hit. So I fully expected to be buying my Dino on Meme Job, but after it hit Saucer Swap, because I didn't want to try to go to Saucer Swap. I was just going to buy everything from Meme Job. And I think in that time we waited from possible launch, that hour window we had, I think there were 30 Dino projects that launched that weren't the actual dev wallet. But they made an announcement that it was going to be completely new art. So as things popped up, if it looked like the previous Dino image from their X post, or it looked like something that wasn't quality, I would click it, not buy it, look at the image, go back to refreshing and waiting for something to pop up. As soon as the image that ended up being the right one popped up, like I said, I clicked, I submitted a 5,000 HBAR buy request, and I think I had my slippage at 91 or 92%. So I assumed there would be some slippage, and I really assumed that 5,000 HBAR would get me, if it went through, a good chunk of Dino, but not 9% of the supply. So when the transaction went through, my first thought was, oh, I bought the wrong one. I'm going to have to go back in and buy. And don't get me wrong, I don't buy 5,000 HBAR of everything that pops up. I don't know meme trading rules. I just knew that Dino was going to go fast and that I wanted 1% or 2% of the supply if I could possibly get it.
Sure.
But it came up 9%. So I went and did my research, and it was the right dev wallet. So I got over my shock and I was kind of shaking. I thought, well, what do I do from here? Disclosure, I traded a couple of million Dino, sold them, and then I bought a couple and a half million back. So I was playing the up and down game. But I knew at that point, with 9% of the supply, that I felt a self-responsibility to use it the right way and not dump it.
Well, let's get into that a little bit. First of all, I think that's amazing that, we knew, and this was my concern, that there would be devs that would try to figure out ways to kind of game the system, right? And that's good. They have the skills to be able to do that. If you think that's unfair, go get those skills and then you can do that as well. But I was concerned that, there might be one dev that would get, a huge portion of it and it would kind of mess up the market. It seems like there's a pretty good breakdown, at least when that bonding curve was going on, of people that actually got in on it. There were some devs that were able to take a little bit of an advantage, but then there's people like you who got a really good chunk that are just everyday people that just clicked buy and were lucky enough to get it. And that's why I wanted to get you on here, beside the fact that you know what you're talking about with this stuff. But what you were about to go into is another thing that was a breath of fresh air. And one of the things that I was, again, concerned about, if one person, not necessarily nefarious, but didn't really believe in the project, got a large portion, they could have a negative impact on the project. And I'm with you. I saw that art and I was like, hey, this is around this Dino narrative, this utility coin narrative. This has a lot of potential, for what I see Hedera coming out with over the next year. And it seemed like the team that was involved with it was going to be able to do what they needed to as far as putting that entertainment out there, putting the different memes out there and getting people engaged. And also unique, right? Because you have how many Doge with hat, or
Right.
Shiba Inu this, or Shiba Inu with a blunt, or with mismatched socks, or whatever it might be. it was a little bit different, right? It had that unique quality that I thought had potential. I was like, this could be the Hedera meme coin. Certainly, there's going to be other ones that have success, Jib and Heck, and of course, Grelf going back and all of the others. But I was like, this is something that I could really get behind. So I was so happy when you contacted me because we were going down to Karate Combat and said that you had such a big windfall. Now, I do want to make it clear this is your win, right? You should, if we do have a lot of success out of this meme coin, you should be the primary one, at least out of the Dino that you got, to benefit from it. But it was also a breath of fresh air to hear all the ideas you had, from karate to, stuff around the mouth, to different ways you could use some of this windfall to benefit the entire Hedera ecosystem and the Dino ecosystem in particular. So could you go into that a little bit deeper?
Yeah, sure. So there have been so many people and projects that have helped things that I'm working with, like Earthlings, and helped me personally, that I immediately felt a responsibility and a thought to, okay, what can I do for Dino? With such a large supply, they don't have there are people involved in that have to have some Dino tokens for themselves, right? But I have a huge supply that I need to not force them to do everything with what small supply they got. I need to help Dino. I need to help the community. I need to do things with my Dino to help grow the brand if I can. Not saying I'm like, oh, I want to be on the Dino team. It's not that. It's I have enough tokens to help grow it with them if they're interested in that. And I think they are. I want to be able to help other meme projects that come along that are huge and growing and active, that you've already named some that are fully supporting each other, and projects like We the Mouth, which I'm on the signature team for that, for when they have to sign multi-sig contracts, and they have some products coming out that I would like to help get some exposure for Dino, but also help them with Earthlings in the long run. So my goal is not to, yes, I want to make money with my windfall. It is like hitting a lottery, but it's not like hitting the lottery today. It's a long-term, slow process. And, for me to succeed, Dino has to succeed, but I want to help other brands, new or old, in that process. I haven't done it yet. You can track where I've split the tokens off, and you can see where they've gone from my wallet. Mm-hmm. It's not hidden. But I will be locking some of those tokens away for a longer term, just to give peace of mind to community members that they're not going to jump into Dino and have me dump millions of tokens on them. That's just not what's going to happen. It's not what I do. The Earthlings team nor me have sold one Steam token, and I plan on treating Dino the same way, even though I'm not on that team.
Well, again, I think that this meme coin has a lot of potential. I think you could be a good inspiration for other people that got big portions of any meme coin, but Dino coin in particular. I think this is exactly how we should be thinking about it. Let's help each other out, make sure we can grow this entire ecosystem as a whole, and we'll be all better off. But Joe, again, congratulations. You got 9% of the supply. I think that's great. And the fact that you're not a dev and you were able to get that amount is fantastic. And I think you have the right philosophy. So thanks for hopping on today. And again, congratulations.
Thank you. And I'll say to anybody that it was just blind luck getting the transaction to go through. And there's going to be a lot more launches that happen like that are instantaneous. I'm not telling people to go try to get a 5,000 HBAR transaction on it. Even if I had it to do over again and I knew my transaction would go through, I definitely would have clicked on, switched to Dino, and bought 20 million, which is just over 2% of the supply.
Sure.
I would have done that. I'm not hiding the fact. I don't know that I would have tried to buy 90 million tokens, but for any of these that are fair launch like that are announced launches, you are going to be competing against more and more bots. But there are opportunities and tokens to be have. I just ask that everybody try to be responsible and supportive if they do get that windfall.
Hey, that's exactly what we want to hear. Again, Joe, thanks for hopping on today, and good luck with everything you're involved with.
Thanks, Brandon. Appreciate it.
I'm now posting these interviews of Hedera builders independently to my channel. The community, influencers, and media outlets are free to use this content to spread the word on what's being built on Hedera. Once they're all uploaded, you'll be able to go to my channel and search for whatever topic or team you're interested in to find more information. Or you'll be able to get the most recent Hedera news by watching the latest HBAR weekly update. So check them out.